You know, we say simple things all day long without even thinking about it. The sky is blue. I'm hungry. Easy, right? But what if I told you that even the most basic sentence has this deep, elegant logic hidden inside? Well, we're about to crack open a surprisingly complex world that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. And we're going to start with just 3 little words. All right, here it is. This is our main piece of evidence. Scarlet poked mustard. I mean, it seems totally straightforward, doesn't it? You've got your subject, your verb, your object. Done. Case closed. But is it? See, this little sentence holds a really fascinating puzzle, one that's had philosophers scratching their heads for decades. Okay, so to really get to the bottom of this mystery, we've got to start by, dissecting the action. Let's see what happens when we start adding a few more details to this very simple sentence. So let's flesh this out a bit. What if we say, Scarlet poked mustard with a pencil in the library? Okay, now we've got a much clearer picture, right? We've got the weapon, we've got the location, and this more detailed sentence, well, it's the key that's going to start to unlock this whole puzzle for us. Now, once you have a detailed sentence like this, something interesting happens. A really clear, kind of intuitive pattern of logical connections starts to show up. It's like a logical chain reaction, what philosophers call a pattern of implications. Just look at how the logic flows here. If it's true that Scarlet poked mustard with a pencil in the library, then it absolutely has to be true that she poked him with a pencil, right? And it also has to be true that she poked him in the library. And of course, both of those boil down to the most basic fact: Scarlet poked mustard. It's a total one-way street, logically speaking. All right, so far, so good. That makes perfect sense. The really specific sentence implies all the less specific ones. But, and this is where the real puzzle kicks in, what happens when you try to go the other way? And this, right here, brings us to the absolute heart of the mystery. We're calling it the non-implication puzzle. And it's all about what these sentences don't guarantee. Okay, so let's set the scene. Imagine you have 2 separate pieces of information. Fact number 1. Scarlet poked mustard with a pencil. You know that for sure. And fact number 2, totally separate, Scarlet poked mustard in the library. You know that too. So, here's the million-dollar question. If you know both of those things are true, can you just stick them together? Does it logically guarantee that she poked him with a pencil in the library? And the answer, which might surprise you, is no, it doesn't. Our gut feeling might scream yes, but logic says, hold on a minute. And here's why. They could be 2 totally different actions, right? She could have poked him with a pencil in the kitchen and then maybe an hour later poked him with a spoon in the library. The 2 facts don't have to be about the same single event. So this is the puzzle. This is the whole thing. Why doesn't the logic flow both ways? Why can't we just glue those 2 facts together? What are we missing? What fundamental piece of the puzzle does our simple subject-verb-object idea of a sentence just completely fail to capture? Well, this is where a philosopher named Donald Davidson enters the picture with this just brilliantly elegant solution. He came up with a revolutionary idea that completely reframes how we think about the logic hidden inside these sentences about actions. He called it event analysis. And the core idea is actually pretty simple but profound. He said sentences about actions, they're not just about subjects and objects, who did what to whom. No, fundamentally what they are reports about events. And that one little shift changes everything. So, that hidden structure we were looking for, it isn't just poked scarlet mustard. Nope, Davidson says the real logical form is this. There exists an event, let's just call it E for short. And that event E was a poking by Scarlet of mustard. All of a sudden, the event itself is a real thing in the sentence. It's like it becomes a new character in our little logical play. Okay, great. So how does adding this weird abstract event E thing actually solve our problem? Well, it turns out it's the master key. This is how it all finally clicks together. So here's how it breaks down. Scarlet poked mustard. That just means there was a poking event, E. When you add with a pencil, you're not changing the sentence, you're just adding another fact about that very same event, E. And when you say in the library, yep, you're just adding one more detail about E. See? All those extra bits are just descriptions getting attached to the one single event. And this is the big payoff.
This solves the whole thing. The first part, the implication, works perfectly. If there's one single event, E, that was a poking, and was with a pencil, and was in the library, then of course it was a poking with a pencil. That's a given. And it also explains the other side of the puzzle. If you know about a poking event with a pencil, let's call it event E, and you know about a totally separate poking event in the library, event F, well, there's no logical reason to think E and F are the same event at all. They could be two completely different pokes.
So really, the big takeaway here is that all those modifiers we add to sentences, with a pencil, in the library, quickly, on Tuesday, they aren't changing the fundamental action. They're just piling on extra facts about one single underlying event. Our language, it turns out, is built around reporting on things that happen.
Which kind of leaves us with one final big question. We just spent all this time unpacking the surprisingly deep logic of just 3 little words. So, if a simple poke is this complex, just imagine what other hidden logical machinery is running underneath everything else we say every single day.